Hello, YouTube friends. Randy here with We Crafty Creations, and I have got another video on photography. And today I want to talk about the different apps that you can get to edit your photos, and which ones I use and why I like them. Also would welcome anybody who wants to leave in the comments an app or some type of program that they use, and I can definitely check it out and potentially give a review on it. Would have to be something that would be available on a Samsung or Android phone. I don't have an iPhone or any Apple products, and I would prefer not to have something that is going to cost me money just to do a review on it. If they have a free trial or if it's free, that would be best for me. So there's two programs that I use very often, and that is Snapseed and Canva. So I'm going to go into Snapseed first. This one's really fast and simple. Basically, it's the easiest app I've ever used for editing my photos. It starts off really easily with just hitting the plus sign to add a photo. And so, if I wanted to edit this photo, then I would just select it. And then right off the bat, down here at the bottom, they have this looks section, which can drastically change the look of your photo. I don't really use this one anymore because I think it changes the look of the photo too much, and it can make your item look like not your item. So unless it's for something really fun, I don't really use these anymore because it just makes it look different than the item actually looks. And it's really important when you're editing photos to not make the color or texture or anything like that look different than what the actual item is going to be, because the worst thing for your business would be to have unhappy customers leave you negative reviews or say something bad about you on social media. So you really want to be careful about representing the product correctly. So what I do here, I'll just hit this little X button, go out of that completely, is in the tools. So in the tools, there's a crop. That one's really self-explanatory. There's different shapes that you can pre-choose. So you can choose for it to be a square, the different sizes that you can kind of pre-do it. I use square most often. So you can crop out, and get the item front and center and, that type of thing. There's also rotate. So if you want to make this item, completely straight up and down, it automatically did it for me. Or let's say something was just super duper off, then you could actually, turn it all the way with this little circle button at the bottom, or you can slide it with your finger and you can kind of adjust it that way. I'm just touching the screen and sliding it with my finger. And they also have the flip or invert or whatever that's called. So that works really well if you have something with text on it, and when you took a photo, now it's showing up backwards. This is one way to fix that, is to go into Snapseed and then hit this little two arrows facing each other, and then you can flip the item and then it will read the writing, will not be backwards anymore, basically. And then you just hit the little plus sign on the side when you're done with whatever changes you want to make. And then you can go back into tools again. Healing is really nice. If there's let's say you took this photo and there was a little hair or, a little piece of glitter or something, you can hit that healing button and then you just touch the screen and it shows you where it's doing it. And then you would be correcting anything there. I have to find a different photo to really show what it does. I mean, let's say that, this little sprinkle, this clear crystal sprinkle wasn't supposed to be there. I could do that and basically make that sprinkle disappear. It's not perfect, but it does work in my opinion. And then you can hit the little arrow back if you've made an error and you don't like what change you made, and you can fix it. You can do, sometimes it picks up something next to it and then it messes it up when you do the healing. So kind of have to be careful with that. I'll just hit the back button a few times to get that back, so I'm not able to fix that little imperfection right there, which, I don't necessarily want to fix that, because if that's what this cupcake magnet looks like, I want the customer to know what it looks like, and I don't want them to receive it looking different than the photo. So you don't want to over edit anything anyway. And then once you're happy with the changes, again, there's this on the right hand bottom side here, this little check mark. You check it, and then back into tools. There's a lot of different tools in here. There's tune image, and then if you hit this little magic wand, then it automatically does it to what it thinks you should do. Not necessarily correct, but you know, that's what it thinks it should do. Hit the X button to go back out of that if you don't like what it's automatically doing. Then next to it, there's these little dials. I don't know what to call them. Little changeable things here. And so then you can go in and you just have to choose which thing you want to change. So let's say I want more contrast, and then you can see at the very top here it says contrast. Or if I change this to brightness, now it's on brightness. You kind of have to really pay attention to what you're doing, otherwise you can, you know, kind of miss certain things. But you can make it, the highlights is kind of like brightness, similar thing. Saturation is going to, you know, make the colors really bold or really muted. Once again, you want to be really careful with those particular changes, because you might end up making the item look completely different than what it is. You know, that's not the colors of pink of this cupcake magnet, then I don't want to change it to look that way just because I like it better. I'll need to paint another one and make those colors if I like those colors better, that kind of thing. And then let's see, go back into tools. I don't use all of these, honestly, and some of them are too much for what we're doing anyway. Details, not even sure. Structure, sharpening. I don't think this is something that's really necessary. White balance. Yeah, I don't really use a lot of these anymore, but I used to use them all the time. I found that I was over editing my photos too much, and I changed my mind about doing that and stopped. You can also add text to photos in here, although honestly this option is kind of clunky compared to doing something like this on Canva, so I don't prefer to do it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just hard to, you can't pick any color. You have to pick one of these colors, I believe. You know, and they only give you so many, and then you've got only so many fonts to choose from. There's some interesting things here, you know, if you wanted something really cute like this, it's kind of, you know, a fun thing. If you want a free program and you don't want to pay for Canva, and you want to be able to do things really fast, and you don't mind that there's not a lot of options, you know, this could work for you, but it just depends on your needs. And then once you're completely done editing a photo and you're happy with exactly how it looks, we'll say I'm done with this photo, then I'm going to hit export, and then I hit save, and then it saves it somewhere in my files under Snapseed. Now when I'm in Canva is my other favorite. Canva, I have a Canva Pro account. It is not free. I don't remember how much Canva Pro is, to be honest. I don't know if there's an easy way to find that out. Account. Well, now you see my email address. That's really not a big deal. Yeah, I don't even see where it shows. Security, mesh preferences. Purchase history, I guess. Subscription paid. I'll have to view an invoice just to see what I paid. So it's $120 a year, I believe is what it is, which is really not that bad. That is, you know, $10 a month. So it just depends on where you're at in your journey, really, if that works for you or not. Basically, it's kind of hard to explain, but that's my opinion of it, is you just kind of have to decide. I would play around with Canva free version first, and then once you start to run into issues where you can't do things you want to do because you only have the free version, then you might want to upgrade at that point. Keep in mind, you can totally use Canva without paying, but there's just a lot of features that are only available with the paid option. One of the big features that I believe is only available with the paid option is removing the background. So if you take a photo, I don't want to go there. Let's see. Sorry, I use like multiple sheets within the same one for lots of different things. Okay, how do I get there? There we go. So we got a fresh, clean slate here. So if we take a photo, like this cupcake that we just edited, and I would say, I don't want this grayish background for the background. FX, background remover. I can remove the background from my item. I used to do this all the time, and I found that it kind of looks one-dimensional, and it depends on the product, and it really depends on a lot of things, but it doesn't look very natural, and it's kind of hard to tell the thickness of it or anything else. There's no shadow, and you can add shadows to it. That's one of the options. And then I would change the background normally, and I would pick a, let's see, photos. These are all the different things that they have thousands and millions of pictures, stock photography, all sorts of things. And then I would put something like this wood background. This isn't the one that I use for this shop, but I'll just use it for now. And fill in the space. For some reason, I'm just struggling to fill in the space. There we go. And then I would then need to move this to the back, which is position backward. And then I would have the cupcake on the top position. It just doesn't look very realistic, you know, it just doesn't. It's obvious that it's edited. It's obvious what's going on here, basically, in my opinion. In certain cases, it's worth it, but in other cases, it's not. It works better for social media than anything else to do the background remover, but you don't have to do the background remover to use this app at all. It's going to hit the back button. It's up here at the top corner like a million times until I no longer have the background removed. That was weird. Okay, let's just put it back in there. So you could just pop it right there. And you can see the shadow around the bottom of it. It's a very light shadow, but it shows that the depth of this and makes it more realistic. And there's a slight shadow everywhere. There are options to add shadows in Canva. It's just they still don't look as real as if you can just not edit that. And that's, personal preference. Some people might feel that it's better that way, and you might be in a situation where you can't take a good photo of your product without there being something in the background that you want to remove. And every situation is a little bit different for that. And I completely understand if you have to do that. Just be a strict critic on your photos when you're said and done and you're posting your photos up. Just be a strict critic on it and really look at it from a buyer's perspective. Compare it to other people's listings that they've posted up, and ask yourself, is there something you could do better to make it, to give it a better look? Sorry, taking a little sip here. I'm still sick. I've been sick for like a month. A lot less sick, but I'm still sick. So I just have to be, just have to point that out there. So I'm doing my best. Anyhow, once you click on it, all these options pop up along the bottom. And there's tons of options on here that are similar to the options that we had on the previous app that I was trying out, like cropping, adjusting, that will do either auto adjust or brightness, contrast, highlights, all that. I didn't even mean to click on it, but I did. This one's just a little bit more complicated. There's more to it. There's more options, way more options than there is with Snapseed. So you kind of gotta decide, do you want more options, or do you want it to be really simple and easy for you for now, and then maybe at some point you'll switch over to something more complicated in the future. The thing that I really love about Canva is that you can make anything on here. You can make videos, you can make these things, like if you wanted to make this animated, I'm going to, not effects, animate. And you can, change pretty much anything about this that you could think of is on here. And once again, a lot of these things are free, but then it doesn't tell me which ones. Unfortunately, when you have Canva Pro, it doesn't tell you when you're using something that's only available for Canva Pro or not. If you have basic, free Canva, then there is a little like crown, like a king's crown next to each of the items that are pro. And it's kind of grayed out a little bit or something, so you can't use it. Unfortunately, I can't tell which are which, but I know that like for this animate, there's only so many options that come available with it. And then other ones, like the stomp, I think, is one that, you have to pay for. And then even beyond that, you can go into this animate feature and you can decide, do I want it to be during the entering of this slide, the exit of this slide, or both? And if that doesn't make sense to you, don't worry. It's kind of a little bit of a, it's part of making a video or an animated photo, like to use for a reel or a GIF or something like that. And it can get a little bit complicated. And like I said, you don't have to do all the most fancy things in the world. If you're just starting out, don't overwhelm yourself with all the different options that there are, but just be aware that there are tons and tons of options. When it comes to the colors, you have like your preset colors that you've decided. It'll show you colors that are within this photo. It has these, this list of predetermined, but then it also has this little thing at the very beginning with this plus sign. You click that and you can pick any color you want, and it's any shade you want basically. And so you can get it branded just perfect the way that you want it. Same thing with fonts. The fonts are endless, and you can actually download fonts that you get from other places and put them on here. With the Pro subscription, there's just it's endless. Like there's literally, I could just keep scrolling. And actually here, it does show you, here's the little crown. If you can see that in the middle of these fonts here, there's a little crown next to this Albertus Nova. That's because that's a Pro, and you only can use that if you have Canva Pro, but you can see all these other ones are free. There's a couple more that are only with the Canva Pro. There's quite a few in one section there, but yeah. And then you've got the ones that you've used recently are, sure, let's see. It starts with what's already been used in this document, then it goes to recently used, then it goes to brand kit. So these are ones I've saved and decided are fonts that I really like and will use over and over again. Then there's uploaded fonts. These are fonts that I've gotten from somewhere else and uploaded. You can get fonts from Creative Fabrica. You can get fonts from defont.com. There's like all these different places. And then there's a list of popular fonts that I think constantly changes depending on what's been popular on the site. And then it's a long list of popular fonts. They're like showing the top 100, I guess. And then they've got English fonts A to Z. And literally this just is in alphabetical order and it just keeps going. And then once you get to Z, I think it shows like symbol fonts and, some different things like that. So it's insane, the options that you have. But like I said, a bunch of those options aren't available if you don't have Canva Pro. I was curious, if you go all the way up to the top, I don't think so. If you don't have Canva Pro, there might be an option up here where you could like type in like free or something, free fonts, and it's just got, some of those just have the word free in it, so I'm not sure. Although when I scroll through, I'm not seeing any with that little crown. So maybe these are just free fonts. I don't know. They're kind of, a lot of them were a little bit wacky looking, not the most common ones, but yeah, I'm just scrolling through a list without the crown, so that might be an option, which would be helpful, so you don't have to find a font you like, then realize you don't have Canva Pro, so you can't use it and get frustrated, because that's how I would feel, at least. I'd be pretty frustrated by that. And then you can do all different sizes for your graphic. So this is a perfect square, I believe. Yeah, 2000 by 2000, which you could start a brand new one here, and you can do custom size. They've got animated social media, Instagram posts. These are all squares right there, but then it says Instagram story. So if you wanted to make an Instagram story, then it's going to automatically make the correct size for that Instagram story. And then it pops up right away, generally with these templates. I don't use a lot of these templates, but you can, if you just don't feel like you have a creative eye and you're not sure what to do, just make sure that when you're doing this type of thing, that once you start with a certain style, especially on Instagram or something like that, try to stick with it. If you one day pick this as your template and do this, and then the next day, you pick something that's a completely different color scheme and a different look, like, I don't know, these are all very similar, which I guess they're doing that on purpose. They're all floral at least, and then the next time you do this, and obviously you're not going to do pictures of yourself with your tongue out. That's not really anything to do with your stuff, but you get what I'm saying. You don't want to, I don't even know how to get rid of that. That's interesting. More, delete. Yeah, but you don't want to have a completely different look, a completely different color scheme, and all of that for all of your social media posts or for all of your listing photos. So either way, no matter what you're working on, whether it's for your listing photos or whatever, you don't want to have your first product showing with this background, and then half of your products showing with this darker gray background, and then some of them showing with this marble background. Overall, you're going to start to look really scattered if you do that. So you just have to keep that in mind. Another one I wanted to show, I just saw on here, I already lost it, was Pinterest. So this automatically does the right size for a Pinterest pin. Some of these are not Pinterest pins. They're just other things that I was working on. But here's a Pinterest pin that I made. So there's just tons and tons of options here. And you can take the same square photo that you used as the listing photo, and you can put it within a Pinterest pin one way or another, and you can make it look really cool. And you're reusing and recycling some of your stuff. So same thing with like this. These were all, photos that I was using within my shop, but I can also just take them and make them into something else with these cool little frames. And these frames are kind of a little bit more complex, but basically there's a photo within this special cutout shape, and there's all kinds of different cutout shapes that you can get. So if you were to look here under elements and look at frames, anything with this cloud and it's cloudy with the sky, and then the background, the little green on the bottom in the background, these are all frames, and there's tons of them. And you'll see a lot of them used over and over again. You'll notice them more and more now that you know what they kind of look like. And so you want to try to be unique and have yours be a little bit different potentially than everybody else's, but you also don't want it to be distracting. They've got them in all the letters. They've got all sorts of crazy options. You can't even imagine. But, if you wanted to put this here, and then you can change that was for the rim around the frame. You can change that to a different color, and then you can choose a photo, one of your own photos, which is normally under gallery or uploads, is where you can get your photos that are saved onto your phone. And I wanted to put this cupcake on there, let's say. And then when I have to scroll it over that frame at the right moment, and then it will fill into that frame. And then I can move around wherever I wanted it. Hope that makes sense. There's a lot to Canva. I mean, I could spend, I don't know, 6 hours probably showing a bunch of different things that I've learned on Canva. The best way to learn things on Canva is just to play around with it and, discover things for yourself. There are a few things that I only know about on Canva because I saw a YouTube video about it. So you just, in YouTube, you can just literally search videos on how to use Canva, Canva for product photos, Canva for social media, things like that. And you're going to find so many videos on it. I know there's a really good video by Starla Moore on Canva, and there's some others too. I can't remember the name of. There's a lady that's really great with social media. Oh, I wish I could remember her name. She does some really good videos on on Canva for Pinterest. Angie Gensler, that's her name. Angie Gensler, I believe. I feel like I'm saying it wrong for some reason, but search for that and see if you can find her. She makes some really good videos on ideas for types of posts for social media, as well as I believe she has some good ones on how to use Canva. But if not, you can always just search how to use Canva for this, that, or the other, and it'll show you. And there's just so many options all along the bottom here. And then there's also like all the different templates that I showed you if you go to like add, and you're going to add a photo, and this is all the stock photos that that Canva has. There's just, you could search, you can, they've got some things people have been looking for, like hearts, obviously for Valentine's Day. And so, they're giving you all these ideas. Sometimes it's hard to delete things. That's one of the problems I have with Canva. It's like kind of a pain to delete stuff sometimes. Backgrounds, it's insane, the options that you have. And then you can take this item, and then you can go into adjust, and you can make it more of a different temperature, or you can make it brighter or darker, or, add highlights to it, make it really bold and vibrant, or you can make it more muted. Turn down the saturation there. It's almost like, super muted colors. So your options are crazy. Like, I can't even explain how many there are on here. And then, when you're done, you'd hit this top right corner button and then download. And I'm on my phone doing all of this. And then because I'm pro, I can change the size. I think you can't change the size unless you're pro. And if you want the transparent background, that has to be pro. And then I have multiple pages that I'm working on here, so I have to pick the page that I'm working on now if I only want to download that page. Otherwise, I'm going to download a whole bunch of other stuff that I've already downloaded in the past. But it's nice to work with the pages, because if you have one page for Pinterest sizes like this, then this little far bottom right-hand corner square, you have to click off of this first somewhere. You click on that, and then you can see the other ones that you've made. And, this is just something that I sent to somebody with a recipe for chili. You know what I mean? You could just do anything you want here. This is some remodeling pictures from my house, that I was just making for the fun of it. I don't remember what I was doing, but it's nice to have this all here. This was like something to show the different colors and give somebody I think I was sending these pictures to somebody to give them a choice between these different kinds of colors for their leaf ornaments. So as you can see, you could just use this for anything you could imagine. But I've got all these with that same kind of size in here. And then I've got one called Etsy with standard background. And I don't know why it says standard background, but these are all squares, and there's different types of things in here. And some of them already have this background that I've been using over and over again when I prefer to use a background versus having it not have a background like this one here, which to me is, I guess standard background would be a background I use over and over again. So I probably have a different one called Etsy. Let's see, I've got a bunch of weird ones in here. It's not even on my, let's see if I just search for Etsy, and then you have to click over in projects. Yeah, I don't even have it. Huh, that's interesting. Etsy with standard background, Etsy with standard background, Etsy with background 1. I have no idea what these are. Yeah, I used to have one that was just like, I don't even remember what I named it, and as you can see, this is a slightly different size than the other ones. So you can optimize for the size that we're told to use. So if we go to Goimagine.com, so you go all the way to the bottom, Seller Help Center. You go to uploading photos and images. Supports the following images: JPEG, GIFs, or PNG. Product size recommendation. We recommend products to be at least 1000 by 800 with a 5:4 ratio. So it's the first number, the height. Image guidelines. Oh, and then it goes into the shop banners, the logos, everything else too here. I've been using squares and it hasn't been a problem for me. It's not turning my photos sideways. It's not doing anything like that, but I do get the impression that I might be doing this wrong. 5:4. So if we go back to Canva, this is a weird one. I don't know where I'm at exactly. Let's go here. And if I can resize these things, let's see. I thought resizing was there. Maybe it's this little thing right here, yeah. Custom size. And so I'm going to say 2500 by 2000. I could do 5000 by 4000 because that's 5:4, but it's going to be too big. And when it ends up being too big, then the problem with that is that I have to then resize it to be small enough for Goimagine to accept it. So you don't want your photos to be too big. But so when I put this in here as 5:4, then that is making it wider than it is taller. For some reason, I thought that's not what they wanted. And I'm just questioning that a little bit right now, but I'll have to look into that a little bit more. So this makes it a little bit wider than taller. I can't imagine that they're going off of a different system than I can't imagine they're going off of a different system than what Canva uses. They do recommend either a Photo Layers app or the Snapseed app, which the Snapseed app is what I use. Yeah, simple to use, give you stunning results. So there's one called Photo Layers app, apparently. I have not heard of that. They've got some other, oh, and there's Canva, free design. You can upgrade to the premium account. So they've got, this is kind of their list of possible options they think you might want to try out. But yeah, when it comes to, go back one because I was in the, so 1000 by 800 pixels with a ratio, the size limit. Yeah, for some reason I thought that I read somewhere or heard somebody say that the picture needed to be taller than it was wide. But either I misunderstood that or they were wrong, because there's going to be a universal sizing mechanism here for width first, height second. There's no way that's going to be different. So this has got to be right. So this is the size that they really want it to be at. So then in this one here, I would need to change it like so. Get it nice and centered. I'm going to play around with it a little bit and upload some photos this way and see how it turns out. If for any reason these photos start turning sideways or I start having problems because I'm not doing squares anymore, I'll definitely report back and probably add another video. But in the meantime, at least make a comment on this video that lets you know that, that if I recommend sticking with squares. I've been using square size, perfect square size for quite a while now, and I haven't had any problems. But, there's a chance that there's a reason why this will work better. Whether it's filling more of the screen on the thumbnail when people are on a search page and they're seeing all the different products by Goimagine. go back to regular Goimagine easily. Yeah, when people are searching here, if my photo's not the right size, they might not choose my photo for one of these featured products, for example, because if it looks slightly off and it's not the same size as the other ones and it doesn't look right, that could be an issue. Or in general, when people are scrolling through, if your photo is smaller than the photos around it, it's going to get less attention. People are going to see it smaller. So, not everybody has great eyesight, and you're looking at a little phone already. You want your product to be front and center as much as you can. So anyways, this has been quite a long video, but I'll just kind of wrap it up by saying I really like these two apps, Snapseed and Canva. I think Snapseed is perfect for beginners, and if you're kind of a beginner to photo editing, I wouldn't even get Canva yet because you might get overwhelmed by it. There's a lot on there. But if you really want to dive headfirst and start making reels, stories, anything like that for Instagram or, for Facebook, and you really want to add text and, have things animated and stuff like that, then you're going to eventually need Canva. But don't go and get the Canva Pro membership the first day that you play around on Canva. I think they have a free trial for a while anyway. But once your free trial's up, if you're not really needing those options and you're not spending a lot of time in there, you can hold off on upgrading to the Canva Pro, in my opinion, until you're more ready. And then as far as just general advice, I'll just say again, don't over edit the photos. Make sure you're not making the product look like a different product, a different color or a different texture than what it is. If this cute little otter here holding the heart, if this heart is really hot pink and it looks more like a red on here, and somebody receives that, they pay their $30, they receive this cute little stuffed animal, and the colors aren't what they thought they would be, they might leave you a bad review. And they might even do worse than that and say something bad about you on social media and whatever else, expect a refund, all those types of things. And it can get really stressful when that happens. And so if you're not making a lot of sales, you might not think about that a lot yet, but the more sales that you make, the harder it is on you when you've got a momentum going and then something happens. Whether the item gets lost in shipping, or the product isn't what they expected, or, you just have somebody that's just being kind of hard to deal with, it really kind of slows down your progress, especially if you're making a lot of sales and you're, you've got a lot going on. It's just kind of halts you in your tracks when you get some message that's just like, excuse me, I don't like your item, this doesn't look like what I thought it would, or it doesn't fit like I thought it would, or whatever. So you really want to best describe your item any way you can. And that's one big thing that I do use Canva for, and you can see that in that first video, or first image here, and there's a couple others. I'm trying to show the sizing for the customer, and I do try to, and I don't in either of these examples, try to include a coin in that photo, and I unfortunately haven't done that in any of these. It's really important to give people an idea of the size, and yes, putting the number of inches like I have is great, but what's even better is if you can put a real life item next to it that everybody should pretty much know what size that is. And I really think a quarter is perfect for that. We did talk about that in another video, and I did mention that some people had commented that you really should make sure the quarter is clean and shiny and looks nice. I do agree that it's worth it to do that because it's not really hard to do. Just find a nice looking quarter and don't find one that's been, soaking in water and got rust on it or something, I don't know. So just, make sure you're doing your best to portray everything in a nice, shiny, bright, environment, and that will really help. So this video's gone on long enough. I'm going to be making another video on natural light, hopefully very soon, taking some photos outdoors in natural light and going over that a little bit more. I did want to end this video with a quick look at this was the sunrise this morning, by the way. So pretty. And we don't have a lot of clouds, so this might be a day for me to go outside. But this is my edited video of my cupcake here, and here are some other ones. And it must be, was thinking it must be that one, but it's not. Let's see here. Maybe it's in here. Sweets. Yeah, this is my original photo. This photo I took a year ago, and it's not bad, but I have removed the background on this and tried to leave the shadow, and it looks a little funny, you know, in my opinion, versus some of these newer photos that I have taken that are a little bit more accurate to the item. Now, also look at this. I used a brown paper kind of background for this photo, and then I used the gray, the shiny gray for these ones. And I mean, the colors of the pinks and everything on here look completely different when you add this brown background. You know, this gives a much more purple look in the middle and a very pastel pink on the tops, whereas these photos on the gray, you know, give a completely different look. And then this one from before, I don't know, I'm just trying to point out here that you want to be really careful. Look at your item in your hand and compare it next to your phone after you take a photo and ask yourself, is this close? And if this is not close, then you shouldn't use that background. You need different lighting. Something needs to change because it really should look close, and you want to portray your items as they are. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. Thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you found this helpful or interesting in any way. And don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this. Like I said, I plan on doing another one very soon on natural light and things like that with photography, and have some other fun stuff coming in the future. So stick with us. Thank you.